Call to order the regular council meeting of February 12, 2018. Mr. Arbor, will you please call the roll?
Colella. Consul Magno.
Here.
Dixon.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here.
Hannon.
Present.
Harrison.
Present.
McLean.
Here.
Lowry. O'Brien.
Present.
We have 7 members present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Under chair announcements, we had an executive session of council was held tonight, February 12, 2018, before we came out here to discuss personnel issues. Now we'll move to the reports of the officials. We have the library director's report.
Good evening. My name is Christine. I'm the director of Your Public Library, where we provide opportunities to explore, learn, create, and connect. So a few classes I'd like to tell you about, and a service that's very popular. It's now tax season. We do have AARP Tax Aid on Tuesdays through April 10th. So this is free tax assistance in preparation for taxpayers with lower middle income, particularly those that are age 60 and over. So we do have volunteers here every Tuesday from 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. Registration is first come, first serve. We do not take appointments. If you want more information or want to know what documents you need to bring, you can call the library. We have a special needs trust seminar Tuesday, February 20th at 7 p.m., where we will discuss the importance of this type of trust for those with disabilities and how a PA-ABLE account can fit into the financial plan for a special needs individual. We have a Building Confidence and Self-Esteem in Children and Adolescents seminar on Wednesday, February 21st at 7. Preparing your home for sale on a budget with a local realtor will be on Thursday, February 22nd at 7. They'll discuss inexpensive options to make your house look better, and you'll get a checklist for easy planning. We have some technology classes coming up. Intro to Google Photos on Tuesday, February 14th at 10. A basic internet class on Wednesday the 14th, and again on the 28th at 2 p.m. Basic email class on Friday, February 16th at 10 a.m. 3D printing class, which fills pretty quickly, Wednesday, February 21st at 6 p.m. And Appy Hour, which tells you what's new and happening in the world of apps, on Tuesday, February 27th at 7. No alcohol at Appy Hour. A few events I want to tell you about. We have Family Movie Night on Friday, March 9th at 7 o'clock at the Community Center. This is a program of the library and the Recreation Department. So we ask you bring a blanket to sit on and join us for a viewing of the newest Disney Pixar movie. Our public performance license does not allow me to announce what that is, but it will be released on DVD by the end of the month, so maybe that will help. Registration is required. We ask that you call the Recreation Department to register. Popcorn will be available. And the library is taking a day trip in conjunction with Passport to Pittsburgh. It is called From Tree to Table, a PA maple syrup adventure. It's $60 per person, and it includes luxury round-trip transportation, a guided escort, admission to the Somerset Historical Society, a pancake brunch with locally made sausage at the Listy Volunteer Fire Company, and admission to an operating maple sugar camp. We ask that you dress for the weather and for walking because it is a real maple sugar camp. This is Saturday, March 10th. Pickup is at the library at 8, and we'll return to the library around 4:30 p.m. And lastly, we have our annual American Girl Tea Party fundraiser on Sunday, March 11th from 2 to 4 p.m. We host this at the community center. Children and their adult guest of honor are invited to share in games, crafts, conversation, light refreshment, and fun. We have had girls bring their dads or their granddads, which is always fun. Children are encouraged to bring their favorite American Girl doll or any doll that they have to the event. Tickets are $25 per pair and $10 for each additional family member. And that is all I have this evening.
Thank you. Any comments from council?
Thank
you, Christine. We have the police chief's report. Chief O'Connor.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Hello, everybody. Chief O'Connor. Tonight, we have something special. We have our annual Merit Awards presentation. This goes to members of the police department who've acted in a very professional and handled all their challenges throughout the year in a meritorious way. So we're going to start the, we have 3 candidates. I'm going to call up third place winner, Officer Justin Beard. Come on up, Justin. Second place, Officer Ryan Weister with a W. And now the man of the hour, the Merit Award winner, first place winner, Officer Andy Volchko. Along with this nice plaque, they also get beer money. Mr. Volchko, he gets a lot of beer. Justin. And I would also like to thank the Merit Award Board for pulling this off again this year. They did a lot of hard work by the board. Mr. Mayor's one of them. Mr. Mowry's not here. Mr. Bailey, Mr. Flynn, and Andy. So these are our award winners. There's some light refreshments for you guys downstairs after. Don't save me any cake. Okay. You got enough pictures? Thank you. Just a couple announcements. If you can, join us, Crime Watch, first Monday in March, 7 p.m., new start time, 7 p.m. at the Community Center. And also, if you can't, follow us on Facebook, social media. We'll get the word out to you what's going on. Any questions? We're good? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Can we have the Fire Chief's report?
Good evening, everyone. My name's Bob Brown. I'm the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Department Deputy Fire Chief. Here to give you the report for the month of January here in a moment. First of all, I'd like to apologize for not being here last month. Unfortunately, we were called out to provide mutual aid to our neighboring community, Mount Lebanon. They had a structure fire where they actually had entrapment, and they were able to save the victim that was in there. So that was the reason for not being here last month. What I did want to provide last month, which we'll get to right now for this month, calendar year 2017, January 1 to December 31st, the fire company responded to 490 calls. We were actually up 50 calls from 2016. Now, I know the wards keep track, so we'll go over that so they can figure out who the winner is, where we responded to most of the calls. Out-of-town calls were 41. Ward 1, we responded to 40 calls. Ward 2 was 39. Ward 3 was 33. Ward 4, 94. Ward 5, 51. Ward 6 was 38. Ward 7 was 50. Ward 8 was 82. And Ward 9 was 22, for a total of 490. So it looks like Ward 4 is going to take first place in that. The other thing we wanted to just provide to our residents to give them an idea, we're not only responding to calls, we do other things that take up man hours. So regards to administrative duties, we had a total of 706 man hours. Community service, 437 hours. Duty crews, which is something new we started last year, where we actually man our stations on some weekends throughout the year. We provided 120 hours. Fire prevention, 431 hours. Fundraising was 241. Meetings, 1,982 hours, which I'll leave here and go to our monthly meeting. Miscellaneous things were just 158 hours. Big item, training, 3,731 hours. Work details, 381 hours. And of course, the big number would be us answering all our calls, which totaled 6,685 hours, for a total man hours for the year of 14,872 hours. And last, the fire report for the month of January. We're not letting up at all. We had a total of 51 calls for the month of January. Broken down real quick, building fires were 2, cooking fires were 1, search for a person was 1, extrication of a victim from a structure was 1, gas leaks 4, electrical conditions 5, water conditions were 4, and we have good intent calls, which is 4. We assisted police and EMS were 2, a vehicle accident 1, smoke investigation 3, a chemical spill 1, fire alarms were 12, and CO alarms 8, and the last one was flood assessments 2, again totaling 51 for the month of January. We also wanted to, which would have been last month's meeting, but just say a special thanks to all our partners, the Bethel Park Police Department, Tri-Community EMS, and the Public Works Department. We appreciate them in the instances where we work together, and we think we work real well with each other, so we appreciate all their assistance they gave us throughout 2017. And I think the last item, just month of February, just be careful with candles, make sure you don't leave any unattended in the home. Unfortunately, they are not the number one, but they are a major cause for residential structure fires. And with that, I am done, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions from?
Hey, Bob, how
Yes.
many, you had 14,000 hours.
Yes.
How many active members?
That's a good question. Active members, I would hazard a guess, it's probably a guess, because it can vary. 30, that may be on the high side, so to speak. You know, we can usually, there's a group of 10 that we can hopefully count on. Not all the time. I mean, the time of day dictates our manpower very much so.
A lot of
Our
hours.
folks, yeah, it is a lot of hours. But we'll continue to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Let's move to the mayor's report. Mayor Allen.
Thank you. I just have a few items tonight. The first one, the police they've already gone, but I wanted to re-congratulate them on the job that they do and the board that picked them. And, you know, it was close, and it's voted on by their peers, which makes it even a little special. Second thing, not that I'm looking past the winter, but for any groups, our spring cleanup this year will be April 21st, so it's not too early if you have a group. And I'll announce that the next couple months also. Speaking of due dates, and I know people do watch this and we do get calls here, for the Bethel Park Veterans Memorial, our last day for engraving. So the forms are here. If you want a name engraved on the memorial, it's April 2nd. And if someone's interested in the paver, that would be the same cutoff date, Mark?
Correct.
April 2nd. And also on the veteran side, the banners that are the telephone pole banners, that will be at the end of April. So we do have some time on those, but I know we get to the very end and it usually someone calls in the day after, which is no problem, but we're just trying to get as many as we can. The next thing is something that I've been getting calls on for the last couple years, and Sean and the council approved this, but we will have fireworks again this year. The fireworks will be June 30th. It'll be at Millennium Park. It's from 3 to 10, and we'll keep announcing this, and you'll see things on it, but there'll be a DJ there. They'll have food vendors. There's a lot of entertainment. So this will be our first annual fireworks display alone. So we're the only one that's doing this. And then finally, I'd like to bring up Dan Duff. He's the president of the Community Foundation. He has a little presentation to make. We have one new restaurant that's going to be opening in next week, 28th, which is Jersey Mike's over in South Park Shops, and I think you'll be impressed with the program that they've put together.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I appreciate the opportunity coming tonight. For those of you that know me, I'm usually holding a big check and we're giving away money. Yeah, I know. In the past, we've provided funds for the fire department for fitness equipment and electronics for the fire engines. We've provided furniture for the community center and a variety of other things. Since 1999, the Community Foundation has given back almost $775,000 back to Bethel Park. And tonight we actually have a really interesting thing. Mike Panarella, right? I want to make sure I pronounce it right, is opening up a Jersey Mike down in South Park Shops. And he has something very special in that on the first day that they open the shop, 100% of the revenue from the shop will be donated to the Bethel Park Community Foundation. So it's not like we're getting 50 cents on every hoagie. We're getting quite a bit more than that. And to show our appreciation, Bill Holden, our Vice President, and Mike and Dylan, your manager, come up here. We'd like to make a presentation. Come on the inside here. Jack, please be with us here. This is to show our appreciation for the upcoming donation. So if you're looking for some great subs on the 28th, we'd appreciate you helping join Mike and his staff to open up their new store. And a lot of the funds will be coming right back into the community in way of grants from the Community Foundation. Thank you very much. Thank you, Council.
Well, that should be a nice fundraiser for the foundation, so that's terrific. And that's also the end of my report.
I have the manager's report, Mr. Arbaugh.
Good evening, everyone. Sean Arbaugh, Municipal Manager, and I just want to go over a couple different contracts we have out right now we're really excited about and getting ready for construction season, even though it's still cold outside. But currently we have 5 contracts out, our road program, so we're looking forward to that program starting this year. Our storm sewer contract, our sanitary sewer repair contract, our Church Road bridge repair contract. We're going to be replacing that bridge over Church Road this year. And last but not least, our Village Green contract. So with Village Green, I'll just talk about that briefly. We're looking to upgrade our Village Green Park by adding an AstroTurf field and also additionally a grass soccer field down there at that park. So we're in the process of that. It's consistently been kind of a wet area to play, so we're really hoping this improves the amount of people we can get down there and the amount of activities we can do down at that field. Additionally, we're going to put a new walking path in around those fields, so we'll have a nice place for folks to jog and to walk around the fields. So that's all I have. Any questions on anything? Thanks.
Thanks, Sean. Let's go to the approval of the minutes, and Mr. McLean.
First item under approval of minutes is the regular council meeting of January 8th, 2018. I move that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of January 8th, 2018.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the regular council meeting minutes of January 8th, 2018. Any discussion on council? Mr. Harbour, please read the roll.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Mr. McLean.
Next item is bills and payrolls. I move that we approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list number 021218 in the amount of $2,210,761.46.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list number 021218 in the amount of $2,210,761.46. Any discussion from council? Mr. Arbaugh, please read the roll.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Next item is resident comments for non-agenda items. You have 3 minutes to come to the microphone and state your comments.
My name is Jason Hill. I live 411 Warning Road. I am having issues with sanitary overflow. I know that you've brought up. Pictures here, and I brought it up to the municipality too. And I wake up in my backyard is under feet of water. I have, one time I saw exactly where it was coming from. I have video of that. I couldn't take pictures because it was 4:45 in the morning. And I was on my way to work. And I had to take the day off. I went to work, got a pump from my general contractor that I was working for, came home, plugged it in, went up the street to Taylor's, rented a gas pump, and pumped for 6 hours with two 2-inch line pumps to get that water out of my backyard. Now, the municipality takes care of that. Has to be another issue allowing a lot of storm water to get into that section of. I have 2 little kids. I have one on the way. You know, when it storms at night, my wife and I lay in bed wondering, are we going to wake up? All I'm looking for is a little bit of help to get this taken care of. Look into different ways of approaching it to get it taken care of, because I can't, my wife and my family, we can't live like that every time it rains. We wonder what's going to happen. I mean, we've lost stuff in the basement. Going on, we've been there for almost 2 years. And since we've been there, it's been going on. And I brought it up just to the municipality about a year ago. And same thing, they camera the sewer, sanitary drain, nothing. But it keeps, something keeps happening. I don't know what the problem is. I'm just looking for some type of a fix. And if you guys would be willing to do something,
Well,
proceed with.
My understanding is that staff is looking into it. We've had discussions with the county health department about it, and that process is underway. So that's, until we hear something back from them, we can't do anything with it at this point in time. But we are taking the appropriate
Okay, I
steps.
just want to make sure that it's, you know,
Oh, yeah,
that you guys know about it.
Oh, yes.
It's not just staying in those offices.
No.
Good.
We do know about it.
Okay. Well,
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other comments? Alrighty, let's go to general policy and finance, and Mr. McLean.
Under General Policy and Finance, we have one item, ordinance number 2-12-18, foreclosure ordinance. I move that we approve an ordinance amending Section 26.13.2 of ordinance number 10-9-17A that requires registration of properties in foreclosure by updating the definition of registrable property.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve an ordinance amending Section 26.13.2 of ordinance number 10-9-17A that requires the registration of properties in foreclosure by updating the definition of registrable property. Any discussion from council? Mr. Arbaugh, please say the roll.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Consul Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Mr. McLean.
No further agenda items under General Policy and Finance.
Is there any additional items?
Mr. Hannon,
Mr. Harrison.
I frequently and will continue to remind the public that this governing body violated the Home Rule Charter by their, and I use the word blatantly violated when they voted, cast an affirming vote on the motion to put the question on the primary ballot for the tax portion for the fire company. I say blatantly because council was informed from this dais that affirmative vote on that ordinance violated the Home Rule Charter. Well, the result of that is this council decided to do what I call a CYA thing to distract the public from the fact that they violated the Home Rule Charter and formed an ad hoc review committee of the Home Rule Charter, claiming it was about 35 years old, which it is, and it sorely needed attention of people. I said at that time, and I think it's been proven true more and more, that that was an unnecessary and a useless committee. Spent about $8,000 of the taxpayers' money, and you can make up your mind whether you think anything worthy happened. But the reason I'm mentioning it tonight, and I'll just briefly mention it and then fill you in more as time goes on. But I mentioned last month from this seat that there was a murmur that there would be consideration of proposing a change to the Home Rule Charter, which would do away with the citizens' involvement in challenging ordinances. That at the committee's meeting late in January, Mr. McLean spoke to that issue. Now, why I say it, I think I'm being proved correct more so. Mr. McLean was not only a member of the committee, he was the chairman of the committee, and at the committee's meeting, he suggested that in addition to the recommendation that the committee made relative to this part of the Home Rule Charter, that there were two other considerations that ought to be involved. Now, my claim is if Mr. McLean thought there were other things that should be addressed in this section of the Home Rule Charter, he either should have brought them before the attention of the committee, and if he did, they apparently turned them down. And if he didn't, I think it's untimely that he does that now. So we'll just wait and see what happens as time goes on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Mr. McLean.
Let me just sort of refresh the public's recollection a little bit. We formed a Home Rule Study Commission because it was the judgment of council that since 35 years had passed since the original Home Rule Charter was adopted, it was time for us as a body through the Study Commission to take a look at the Home Rule Charter and just consider whether it was appropriate to change anything at all in the Home Rule Charter. So we did that. And we did that with a group that met over a year and a half on a number of meetings. The group that looked at that included not just members of this body, but members of the public, some of which are seated here in this room this evening, but people who had shown a commitment to the community and an interest in looking at the Home Rule Charter. The report that came out of that Home Rule Study Commission is available on the Bethel Park website, and in fact, it's been available for 2 years now for people to review. And I'd encourage anyone who's interested in these issues to take a look at it, because I think what the report will confirm is the seriousness with which the Home Rule Study Commission approached its task and the thoroughness with which it looked at each of the issues that came before it. Now, there were a number of recommendations that emerged from that Home Rule Study Commission, some of which have been proposed to the voters, and they have voted in favor of them. I will tell Mr. Harrison that with respect to the initiative-related proposals that came out of the Home Rule Study Commission, we did look at a number of options, and I did propose to the Home Rule Study Commission one of the alternatives that is still available for council to consider. If you look at the report near the end of it, I included a statement where I specifically reviewed the alternatives that were available and the alternatives that I would have preferred versus the alternative that the Home Rule Study Commission itself came up with. But the Home Rule Study was making recommendations. It's up to this body as council to consider whether they want to adopt a particular ordinance proposing a change, and then it goes ultimately to the voters to decide. So we will, of course, be discussing what those alternatives are as a constituted governing body, and we will be discussing it with the public. And we will make the public aware of the reasons why the changes were being considered and the reasons why whatever particular alternative is set, is ultimately decided on, is the one that fits. So I just ask, like Mr. Harrison, I encourage everybody to stay tuned and to listen, and we will continue to discuss this and to be doing it in a very open and public way, as we have throughout the process from the beginning. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Handy, I just want to conclude by saying that if the public, I haven't seen the alternatives. I think Mr. McLean ought to provide those to the council this time that he's going to bring up at the committee meeting. But I just want to tell the public, if you allow this governing body to modify the Home Rule Charter, which will eliminate them from challenging the ordinances, and the ordinances that would be challenged has to do with money. It's all about money, all about money. But if the committee, if the council puts that on a ballot and the community votes for it, then you get the type of governor you want. I don't think we want a czarist type thing where it's almost as if when you get elected to council, you're anointed with a special talent so that we know more than the public knows about what they need their government to be. I don't agree with that, obviously. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. O'Brien.
I remember the committee being very, very vividly. There was recommendations, there was alternatives, but it's interesting that the commission pointed out a slight problem, and how do we want to deal with it with the current Home Rule Charter? And we're discussing it. It is a real issue. How do we proceed? Do we leave it? That was one of the options. Do we change the whole thing? Do we change a portion of it? What are we really interested in? And what is the real issue? So, yeah, I think it's a conversation. I think it's a good conversation. It's open, it's honest, and it's truthful. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Okay, let us go to Planning and Zoning and Mr. Dixon.
We have one item under Planning and Zoning tonight. That is application number 2017-0859. The Bethel Park Animal Clinic, Major Land Development, 4792 Library Road. I move that we approve application number 2017-0859, Bethel Park Animal Clinic, Major Land Development, 4792 Library Road.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve application number 2017-0859, Bethel Park Animal Clinic, Major Land Development, 4792 Library Road. Any discussion from council? Mr. Arbery, please read the roll.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Consul Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Mr. Dixon,
That is all we have under Planning and Zoning tonight.
any additional items? Hearing none, let's go to Health, Safety, and Welfare. Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Hannon. Resolution number R21218A, Emergency Operation Plan. I move that we adopt the resolution allowing for approval and adoption of an emergency operation plan for the municipality of Bethel Park.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt a resolution allowing for approval and adoption of the emergency operations plan for the municipality of Bethel Park. Any discussion from council on this?
Mr. Hanna?
Mr. Mayor.
This is an action that we've been working on for a year. About a year ago, I think it was, John, he was appointed, John Kuchma, who's sitting there in the front row. So he's the one that wrote this up. He's been working on it for a year, and I've met with John on a few occasions. where he tweaked what we needed to be. This actually puts us in, is compliant with the state and the county. At this point, we had a semi-operation plan, but with this plan that John has worked so hard on, we're in full compliance now, and John will keep updating it, so I want to thank you personally for all the work that you've done. So thank you, John.
Question from council. Mr. Albar, please call the roll.
Harrison. Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Consul Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Mr. O'Brien,
There are no other items under health, safety, and welfare.
any additional items? Hearing none?
Mr. Hannon,
Good.
I just wanted to thank a few people. Last month in January, we had the Law Enforcement Appreciation Day/week that was held January 9th through the 15th. And wanted to send out some thank yous to everyone that participated in that and supported the program. And Mayor Allen, President Mari, and all of Bethel Park Council. Also wanted to thank the Bethel Park Community Foundation and Dan Duff, Allegheny Council Representative Sue Means, Bethel Park School District, and especially Bethel Park art teacher Kristen Ritchie and her students for coloring blue for the law enforcement that we provided them. Chuck Stover and Kathy Moscato for proudly displaying the banner that was signed by so many residents over at the community center during that week. Bill Harpether and the Bethel Park Historical Society for letting me sell the blue bulbs that weekend and displaying the banner. For EV Hardware and Andy Amheim for selling the blue bulbs in support of the law enforcement. Pasta 2 for the delicious food that they provided us for the law enforcement meals on January 9th. And thank you to all the residents that proudly displayed the blue bulbs in their windows during that week. And if you're still driving around the community, I still see some blue bulbs displayed in their windows in support of our law enforcement. And a special thank you to our law enforcement for the job that they do each and every day in protecting us and making our community as safe as it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Consolmagno.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. O'Brien.
I'd just like to say thanks to Joe for taking the time to step up to help us recognize our men in blue, help residents realize the job that they do, and that they're part of this community. They're real people. And I think it goes a long way with the officers. I really do. And Joe, I want to thank you for doing this. And hopefully it'll become an annual event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
All righty. Let's move to Public Works and Maintenance and Ms. Gibbons.
Resolution number R2-12-18B, DCED grant. I move that we adopt a resolution to apply for the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Commonwealth Financing Authority grant for lateral grouting and manhole rehabilitation in accordance with the Municipal Environmental Engineers Correspondence dated January 18th, 2018.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt a resolution to apply for a Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Commonwealth Financing Authority grant for lateral grouting and manhole rehabilitation in accordance with the Municipal Environmental Engineers Correspondence dated January 18th, 2018. Any discussion from council? Mr. Albar, please call the roll.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Consul Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Ms. Gibbons.
Sodium bicarbonate contract. I move that we award a 3-year contract for sodium bicarbonate 50-pound bags at the Piney Fork Wastewater Treatment Plant to Barber's Chemicals, Inc. for a low bid of 34 cents per pound for 2018, 35 cents per pound for 2019, and 36 cents per pound for 2020, in accordance with the municipal manager's correspondence dated February 7th, 2018.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to award a 3-year contract for sodium bicarbonate at the Piney Forks Wastewater Treatment Plant to Barber's Chemical, Inc. for a low bid of 34 cents per pound for 2018, 35 cents per pound for 2019, and 36 cents per pound for 2020, in accordance with the municipal manager's correspondence dated February 7, 2018. Any discussion from council? Mr. Albury, please call the roll.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Ms. Gibbons.
Resolution number R2-12-18C, CITF grant application. I move that we adopt the resolution authorizing the manager of the municipality of Bethel Park to file a grant application for a community infrastructure and tourism fund grant to fund improvements to Miners Memorial Park.
Second?
There's a motion and a second to adopt a resolution authorizing the manager of the municipality of Bethel Park to file a grant application for a community infrastructure and tourism fund grant to fund improvements to Miners Memorial Park. Any discussion from council? Mr. Albright, please call the roll.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Ms. Gibbons,
No additional agenda items.
do we have any additional items? Will we adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.